Opinionated and now caffeinated. Wake Up Warchant is fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed, Courtney, and their son, Brett, DeLuna Coffee is Florida State through and through. The pursuit of the perfect blend of coffee beans is a 365-day effort for the family, but they'll always find time to tailgate for their Noles in the autumn. Stand at attention for their red, white, and brew. In honor of armed forces, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, DeLuna has created this fair trade organic blend. Enjoy this premium French roast coffee and salute to the good old USA. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Azan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Bundles still rolling out there, everybody. $40 over at the website, DeLunaCoffee.com. Get a 12-ounce bag of red, white, and brew. Get that tumbler. Get the chocolate-covered espresso beans. Energize your life. Fuel it. Become a DeLunatic. Help us out. Help the people that help us out. That's all we're asking. That's all we're asking. Myself and Corey Clark, we work for WarChant.com. It is your ultimate Seminoles sports source, according to J.D. Power & Associates. Promo code WarChant30 for 30 free days of access to the website. Hit the thumbs up if you're listening to us on YouTube. We would appreciate a 5-star rating and a subsequent review on iTunes. Would also be pretty cool. Not as cool, though, as being Corey Clark, father of Brady Clark. A shout-out to our friends, Corey, on the YouTube. I got to pull them up here. I should have had it ready. But John Walker says, Corey, I'm looking forward to seeing your son in the garnet and gold. I know he's going to do it. Mike Jr. is going to make him a good ball player, and I'm looking forward to seeing that special day for you.
That's very, very nice. What's actually funny about that's look, I want people to know what the things I say about Brady. I should probably establish this. I'm joking. I have no he could be, who knows what he'll be, but I'm not one of those dads that just assumes he's going to be this awesome college baseball player. I'm saying that tongue in cheek. But what's funny about that is there's some cool things about this job. Obviously, a lot of cool things.
Yes.
But on last week, I talked to Mike Martin Jr. about John Nagowski.
No-Go got a headline story on WarChant.com, everybody.
It's great. You know, he's the first Pirate rookie to have 12 hits in his first 5 games in the last 120 years.
Let's go, man.
I mean, it's nuts what he's doing. And he had 2 more hits on Sunday, including one in the 9th inning that helped them win the game. He scored the game-winning run. It's not against the Mets.
Left for dead, no shot. Now he's in the show, thriving. It
thriving,
really is
man. He was in independent ball a few years ago, and now he's the starting first baseman in the middle. I know it's not a great team, but they've been playing pretty well with him. I think they're 4-2 since they put him in the lineup. He was like the magical elixir. But anyway, so I was talking to Mike Martin Jr. about him, and then also about Matt Nelson and some other guys in the Major League Baseball draft that started on Sunday. And at the end, I'm like, hey, man, just out of curiosity, like when I'm pitching BP to Brady, I'll throw a pitch down the middle, and he kind of pops it up to right every now and again. Do you know what's going on there? And he's like, well, you could send me the swing. And I'm like, I'm not going to bother you with that, Mead. I'm not going to send you videos so you can break down my son.
It. Come on.
But what would you think would it be? And he told me, he's like, it sounds like he's like getting out. He's extending his arms too quickly and coming around the ball instead of going to the ball. And, you know, that kind of technical stuff. But I was like, you know what? Maybe I will send Mead a video. Just say, hey, man, break it down. Let's break it down. Now, wouldn't that be, that'd be pretty funny content. Like me and Meat on a Zoom breaking down Brady Clark's swing.
Yes, and then it can actually be informative and educational for other parents watching it because Meat takes baseball seriously, obviously, and he'll probably give out some good pointers for free.
Yeah,
Let's
and then Brady, if
he
cares, would watch it. Hey, he's in. He's got nothing else to do. Just recruiting a little bit for the next month. Okay. So maybe that's an idea. But, congrats to No-Go. And, one day Brady Clark will be in either garnet and gold or the red and blue of the Braves.
There we go. Hopefully, we can only hope. Sorry about Acuna, man. What a bummer, man.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm not close to over that. The cool thing is not that there's ever a cool thing, because he was the reason to watch the Braves, but like it wasn't like they were 70-20.
Yeah.
They've been struggling all season. They're not going to win anything this year. Maybe they can sell now and get some prospects instead. But that was I'm trying to find the silver lining there. But yeah, that's a real bummer.
Yeah, that was a stretch, man.
But it's like they weren't going to win anything. So they're not going to win anything. Right. So,
okay.
But still, it's really, really awful. I'm not a big fan of it at all.
Shout out to Cal Raleigh. He made his MLB debut on Sunday for the Mariners. Didn't get anything done at the plate. They lost the game, but nonetheless, that's a pretty quick call-up, I would say, for Cal. Shout out to him. Congrats, fulfilling his lifelong dream of making it to the show. As you said, Matt Nelson. We were hoping maybe would go in the first round, did not after the dust settled on
Raleigh.
Sunday.
So I guess Cal was drafted in the 2017 draft. So yeah, that's like two years in the minor leagues, and last year didn't count because they didn't really have minor leagues last year. So yeah, that's a pretty good. I assume he's 24, 25. That's a pretty quick call up.
Yeah, good for him, man. So that's awesome. Baseball thriving. It's important. We're going to talk a little bit more about baseball, believe it or not, later on in the show, everybody, because it's July and we can. But we'll speak about football because that's what everybody's here for. At the end of the show, we'll have thoughts from Michael Langston on the latest commitment for the Noles, another transfer, and he'll be able to go in 2021. Marcus Cushnie, originally from Alabama A&M, via Palm Beach County. So a Florida boy gets to come home. There was a little bit of flirtation between both sides, that is Cushnie and Florida State, before he ultimately committed to Purdue, but then on Sunday backed off that pledge and hopped aboard with Florida State. Probably Florida State, was kind of cooling on him, and then as we sit here, it is, it's getting into the double digits in July, everybody. We're getting closer to this kickoff thing. They probably realized who they had on their board, who they could get, who they couldn't get, and decided to go after a kid. And I'm all for it. I mean, I kind of wanted the kid at first. When he went to Purdue, I was like, what's that all about? And then we were like, obviously the staff didn't think highly enough of him, which is true. At the time they didn't, but things changed. And the kid was defensive player of the SWAC championship game, defensive MVP rather. Yeah. Graded out at 86.6 in the truncated spring season that the SWAC played out. 86.6, that's really good, and his pass rush was 90.4 on the grading scale. He's 6'2", about 245 pounds now, he says, on social media. 47 tackles, 20.5 for loss, 14 sacks in his last 16 games he played. So,
we had a Q&A with him. Yeah. Much needed. Warchant has a Q&A with him that we got up on Sunday night. And what should really be enticing and encouraging is they played 4 games this year and he had 7 sacks. That's a lot.
Do the math. Everybody.
That's a lot. And I know the competition isn't great, but ask yourself if you took one of these Florida State D linemen. Well, I shouldn't say that. Kando had 4 against Delaware State in that one time. But it's like just production, man. Somebody that knows what it feels like as a football player to grab a quarterback and put him on the ground. That's pretty cool. There aren't many of those on that roster. So, again, a bit of a wild card. He's also got a year. This isn't a grad transfer. I think he's still just a junior. So he'll have another year after this. So even if he's not quite ready to play at this level, maybe he'll be a good player the second half of the season that can come back and be something you build around next year. But it is I think he had 7 sacks and 13.5 tackles for loss in 19, and then in a 4-game, so that's good production. And then in a 4-game season, he had almost 2 sacks per game, and I think he had 12 tackles or something ridiculous in the SWAC championship game. So yeah, man, I think what must have happened in June, they were kind of, they weren't they were dipping their toe in, but they weren't ready to offer him. And so he might have just been like, well, screw this, man. I'll go to Purdue then. Purdue wants me.
Yeah.
And then you get the impression that maybe the staff was holding out hope, seeing what was on the landscape. They knew they had one spot available. They wanted to see what was on the landscape, what was around, what they could get. And they realized now at this late date, we're almost in the middle of July. Okay, this is the scholarship. This is the guy that can fill that scholarship. Let's see if he'll back off his commitment to Purdue. And like any rational, sane person, when you've given a choice between living in Tallahassee, Florida, and West Lafayette, Indiana, You know what you're going to choose, especially a kid from Florida. I mean, what's he going to do in Indiana from, November to March, except freeze to death? So, yeah. So, it was somebody they clearly they weren't ready to jump on board with him. But then when they realized, okay, and that's what you do. That's what recruiting is all about. That doesn't make these guys bad guys. A lot of guys get offered after other people have said no. That's just how life works. That's how, maybe you liked some, maybe you like some dude. If you're a woman, listen to this. You like some dude. He was never that into you, so you go to the next best option. That's what we all do in life, right, Aslan?
Absolutely. Yeah, I got
Not
no problem
me.
with it.
I found the best option.
You got it. Locked it down.
On the romantic side. But yeah, so the numbers, they popped out to me a little bit, man. And I you can't get too excited because of the competition, but still, you can allow yourself to get a little bit excited. And there's also the excitement of the unknown. Like, okay, what is this guy going to be like? How fast twitchy is he? What does he look like? And so we know what some of the other guys look like, and we're not expecting a ton from guys not named Jermaine Johnson.
Exactly.
That have been on this roster.
Yeah,
but
man.
This guy might be a nice compliment to him.
There's no need to overcomplicate this. They need guys that can get to the quarterback. This guy showed that he'd get to the quarterback. There's really nothing else to it, man. I mean, 24 hurries in 4 games. Again, man, do the math. That's 6 per game where he's breaking contain, getting into the pocket, disrupting things. I know some of the folks at Warchant that work for us really are high on Keir Thomas. I mean, Keir Thomas has got, 55 pressures over playing 5 seasons. So I think he's going to be an important piece, a valuable piece of what they're trying to get done. But I mean, Keir Thomas isn't, hey, man, it's 3rd and 8, get home, bring the quarterback down. That's not his game. At least
he's
off
more
the
of
end.
a middle. He's more of an interior guy,
Right.
And he also, again, the context of the leagues they were playing in. Keir Thomas might have averaged 9 hurries a game played in that league.
Maybe.
We don't know.
Maybe.
But what I do like, and when I was reading the Q&A, the thing that I was reminded of is, he didn't just come on a visit when he came in June with the 5,000 other kids that rolled through Tallahassee that month. He worked out for them. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they're just going on stats. He worked out for him so they could see him move in person and what he looked like in person. And apparently they liked it enough to now he's a Florida State Seminole.
They don't like it enough to offer him there on the spot, though.
But again, why you got to bring up old stuff?
I'm just saying, let's not overcomplicate this. Throw him out there because otherwise, behind Jermaine Johnson, it's what? You're hoping Joshua Farmer, true freshman, if they flex him outside, but he might play probably on the inside. Derek McClendon, Quayshawn Fuller, Josh Griffiths. I mean,
do you think there might be something too, though? It wasn't maybe they didn't like him enough, but maybe they thought there was another position of need that they had a real good chance to fill with that last spot.
Yeah, possibly, but it's 2021, Corey. If you got a guy that you think is going to be able to disrupt passing attacks and get to the quarterback, man, unless you think, I don't know, maybe you thought that you saw that LSU kid coming on the horizon, Dare Rosenthal, who went to Kentucky. Right. Come on, Dare. He obviously lost the truth or dare on that one.
Too good.
Too good. So, yeah, I mean, again, they need help at that position. Bring him in. And, yeah, maybe he's not, honorable mention all ACC. But, hey, if he can get home once or twice in a game, once or twice in some important game, get him off the field on a 3rd down, that will certainly help what they're trying to get done on the defensive side of things. So, things are not done for Florida State. And I misinterpreted the rule. I tweeted it out, by the way. So, I thought these players had to pick a school and get cleared by July 1st to then be eligible for this upcoming season. But all they need to simply inform their current institution by July 1st, hey, I'm done. I'm in the portal. Well, I'm not done here, but I'm going to go in the transfer portal. And then I think from that point on, it's whether or not they can get enrolled to the particular school within that school's registration deadline. So there's no new names to figure out, everybody. Like, no, you can enter the portal right now, but if you enter the portal right now, you cannot play football for your new institution in 2021. But all the other guys that you saw 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, that are still out there, those guys are still options for certain schools. Again, we don't quite know. At least I don't know. I think Michael's going to try to figure it out. Hopefully he'll post it, I'm sure, on the premium recruiting board. But, man, if I had to bet, I would think that was it. I can't imagine they're going to be able to bring somebody else in for 2021.
Well, it's so late in the game now.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. I know we're all about player we're champions for the players and players' rights and all that.
You are.
We sure, probably more so than you.
Yeah.
But July 1st is pretty darn late. Like, you could maybe bump that up to June 1st.
It's going to go. I think it's going to start. It'll be May 1st moving forward. But I think with the pandemic
will it? Okay,
lingering,
this year was different.
Yeah, correct.
Oh,
correct,
okay. Well, perfect then. Because July 1st, man. I mean, you're starting football practice in a month, and you're gonna have, you might have 5 kids come in and say, no, we're going somewhere else. Like, I don't like that. But yeah, never mind. I guess I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's a one-time thing.
May 1st will be for fall sports, and then July 1st will be for spring sports. So if you're gonna make a baseball or softball, you'd have to be in by July 1st moving forward. But football, May 1st, we'd have that. Which is, I mean, that fits the calendar more, too. Like, your spring season is over. You've done your exit interview. You know whether or not you want to stick around at that institution. So, get busy living or get busy dying at that point. So, that's what's going on the football side of things. I think we're going to catch up with the rest of the freshmen later on this week. So, do stay connected with us on warchant.com. Corey, I did want to mention another thing here before we get to our Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week from a time period that's not now. Okay. Just rolls off the tongue. Tongue. So, as you being the champion of the athlete, of the young man, the student athlete, the young woman on this show, between the two of us, the good cop to my bad cop.
Right.
Since they will be getting a little bit more compensated, some of these players, do I get to criticize them now with less sort of guilt? Because I do. There's times where I would check myself if I was, going to criticize a kid. I'm like, hey, man, it's still college sports, Aslan. These kids are still playing, quote unquote, for the love of their school. Like, if you're a Miami blogger and De'Aaron King has hit up 3 meet and greets in the last week, so that means he's cleared $6,000 because he charges $2,000 an hour. Like, can you maybe criticize his decision on 3rd and 8 and a loss to North Carolina with a little, kind of like you're writing about the Dolphins rather than the Hurricanes nowadays? Does that not change?
I mean, I guess it could. I don't, and I'm not trying to be snide or snarky here. I don't feel like you put a governor on yourself much when you're criticizing players. And I do a little bit, but not much. I mean, I think we're polite. And you still, if somebody has a terrible game, you'll still point that out or makes a terrible play. You feel like you've kind of been handcuffed a little bit there?
No, I just wonder more so, like, I know on the message boards, a lot of people get
treating
shamed.
them more like professionals now.
Yeah, I think. I'm not so, really, honestly, not so much us, because, to your point, I don't think I've bit my tongue too much on things. But again, I'm not trying to be a jerk to anybody. Really, I'm not. People probably like laughing at that. I'm really not trying to be a jerk to these guys. I mean, they play for the school that I went to. Not that I played for. I didn't bleed and sweat and all that. Well, I did, but off the field. That doesn't count.
Right. Sure.
I don't. I've seen more, like, when guys will get on, and maybe even the ladies, when they get on the message board and they'll criticize a player. It's like people like, way to be a tough guy and criticize a kid on a keyboard, and this kid's, he's still a kid. Don't forget that. I wonder if that stuff will slowly kind of fade away with this new installation of things. I almost wanted to spin it forward, Corey, into being, if they were like fully paid since 1965, like, what one player would you have gone all in on? Like, not attacked, but just like, would it have been a kicker? Would it have been one of the guys that missed a field goal? Would it have been like Winky after he threw 6 picks against NC State? Like, who would have just gotten absolutely mauled by the media if they'd been getting paid money and we weren't so, not you and I, but just the industry at large, like, handling with like kid gloves these student athletes? But
there's a lot of them out there. When they come to mind, especially during the lost decade and here the last 3 or 4 years, Corey Mangum is an easy one to say.
Oh, poor Corey.
Fred
out
Rouse.
Corey, man. Corey got sniped. Corey got pounded on, man.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying. Imagine what it would have been if
the media could actually say, right? Yeah, the message boards beat up on the poor kid.
Yeah, and then like Fred Rouse would have been an easy target. I think, and I like Greg Reed. I thought Greg Reed was a decent cornerback and a incredible return man.
Good.
But I remember it must have been his sophomore year.
Can we call him a good cornerback? I mean, decent.
I mean, when you put him, juxtapose him to the other guys he was playing around, like, he wasn't Xavier Rhodes, he wasn't the guys he wasn't LaMarcus Joyner. He was pretty good, but he was such a. In 2009, he was like this streaking comet that came in, like, oh my gosh, they got a guy that goes and makes plays like T-Buck again. But in 2010, I remember him getting a lot of grief, and rightfully so, for, shall we say, shying away from contact in a few games. He didn't seem to be that physical up front. And for a guy that was very confident in himself. But then he turned that around, I thought, late in that season. Clearly the South Carolina game, we'll never forget that. Imagine what he could have done for any dental place in the city after the hit on what was his name? Lattimore?
Marcus Lattimore.
Yeah, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Every dentist in the city would have been after Greg
Dr.
Reed
Heather
after that
Birch.
hit.
Dr.
Yeah,
Heather Birch
would have been all over him because didn't Lattimore get some teeth knocked out?
I don't know. Either him or Nick Moody could have done something because Moody shattered the face shield of that. I think it was Demps, the kid Jeff Demps from Florida.
Oh,
I don't remember. I don't know if Lattimore got it. He was done. I mean, he got.
Yeah, I knew he hurt his. I thought maybe he didn't hurt his knee on that play, did he?
No.
That
was like
he was knocked out though.
Yeah, that was like the Marvin Jones. That's the perfect hit when they come bring the chopper. I mean, if it wasn't played in a dome, they probably would have brought a chopper down to get him off the field.
So, but Greg Reed was a polarizing guy at corner because he did give up some plays because he tried to make plays. So I think he might have taken some heat from people. Because the reason I say that is because Greg Reed would have had a lot of sponsorships. He would have been out, he would have been all over Twitter and all over Facebook, and he'd have been, again, in the jewelry store with Jimbo and eating at Subway back when you could, hey, I'm friends with Jared, back when you could say that back then. He could have been part of that whole ad campaign. He would have been a huge star off the field. He was a big name in Tallahassee. So I think that would have given him people a lot more ammo maybe to use against him.
The only game I can pull up on Pro Football Focus from the 2010 season for Florida State. They go back to 2008, but they don't have 2009 for some reason for Florida State. They've got the game against Virginia Tech, the ACC championship game. Greg Reed, 62.4 grade, 78.5 tackle, though.
Okay, Greg.
Yeah, that's our guy.
There you go. The ACC championship game and they gave up all. That defense wasn't good that day.
No, wasn't. No.
Well, what are you going to do?
That was with some names on there though, man. Some guys: Brandon Jenkins,
they were young.
Jacoby McDaniel, Everett Dawkins, aka A1 Doc, Xavier Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
They had some dudes. They had some players on that team. Nigel, 50. He graded out 50, second lowest on the team.
Come on, Nigel. We need more out of you than that, buddy.
Yeah.
The clutch shot, the biggest hits. It's time for the Zaxby's indescribably good
Player of the week.
Since it's the offseason, we'll be going back and paying homage to the greats. We're going to go to baseball now, and this is obviously a slam dunk, or maybe a grand slam, we should say, because the single greatest performance by a Florida State baseball player ever is obviously Marshall McDougal, so we won't sit here and go through all that. But Corey, real quick.
He hit for the cycle in home runs. A solo, 2-run homer, 3-run homer, grand slam.
I did not know that. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah.
Amazing.
There you go.
I'm going to go with a pitcher, Corey. I'm going to go to 1965, Cliff Renew, like a 6'5" dude from Albany, who threw a complete game in Omaha against Texas that went 12 innings. He threw all 12 innings in a victory in Omaha in the College World Series. Cliff Renew, my Zaxby's indescribably good player of the week of all time, well, second place when it comes to baseball.
I was just thinking about this game the other day and how just out of nowhere bizarre it was. But do you remember the name Will Zurzow?
Oh, yeah. Good one, Corey. Yeah. Continue.
So 2017, the regional final against Auburn, had not pitched at all in 27 days. And all my man did was throw a 9-inning complete game, 2-hit shutout with 11 Ks and no walks.
CG shut piece.
A kid that hadn't pitched in a month. And what was really cool about it too, I don't know if you watched it at the time.
I did. Oh yeah.
But they kept
showing his mom and dad.
Showing his mom and his dad.
Yeah.
And there was the one time where he had another 1-2-3 inning, and it shows the dad kind of smacking the wife on the butt. Like, there you go.
Yeah,
and
man.
I just thought, I'll never forget that. Yeah. And, of course, that became a meme very quickly. He would come to games all the time, and his son would never pitch. Or his son went a whole month without pitching. Might have pitched 11 or 12 innings that year before that game. But he was still there so much, and so was the mom. And I remember asking him about that afterwards when I talked to him. I interviewed him. I think I was still the Democrat at the time.
Yes.
But I interviewed him for the column I wrote. And just like what that said about him to come to these games where he wasn't Cal Raleigh's dad. He wasn't Taylor Walls' dad. They know they're going to get 4 at-bats and play every game. He would come to all these games not knowing if his kid would even play, and then to have that kind of payoff. You want to talk about indescribable, Aslan? Well, it wasn't, because I wrote a great column about it. I don't know if it's still out there, folks, but you might want to Google search Corey Clark, Will Zerzow. There's a beauty out there somewhere on the internet. But anyway, that's my indescribably good baseball performance.
All right, last thing as we squeeze every ounce we can out of football, Corey, this is neither you nor Ira respond in the group text to this. So maybe I need to do like a recurring segment where it's like ignored by my coworkers. Let me talk to my people on the megaphone that is this podcast everybody listens to. Jordan Travis tweeted out, and listen, I do. You folks are cringing. I know Corey's probably cringing. I cringe a little bit too, and I'm thinking about this because.
Okay, well, but the cringe isn't so cringy that you're gonna go through with it.
I mean, let's see what we got going on right now. Look at the clock. We're 21 minutes on the show.
Okay.
I feel like Jordan just like turned heel on us if we're using like wrestling vernacular. But maybe this could be a good thing. Like this is confidence. This is confidence personified. This is subtweeting and passive aggressivism on like a 3,000 level course he could have taught. So there's a rap song. I'm not going to rap the lyrics. I don't want to disparage the art.
I made it to the top and they all looked up in disbelief. They hate that I'm doing better. They much tried to get rid of me.
But it's a 10-second clip of just Jordan in Jersey. Hey man, I none of us went and asked for another quarterback, Jordan. No, we didn't start Mackenzie Milton in Tallahassee. That was Kane Madden in Tallahassee. What made me think about this was, because it all comes back to Jimbo Fisher in my world, the 2013 team, absent them slaughtering my family in front of me, they're all bulletproof. If 2013, Timmy Jernigan, I think it's a Timmy Jernigan is just some country strong, I'm here to play football, kick people's and win trophies. And if he would have tweeted some stuff, I wonder if it would probably change a little bit of my perspective on that team. If you had said that a quarterback was going to make some kind of hype video for himself, sort of. It's a 10-second clip. It's really not a hype video. I would have been like, Jordan Travis is probably the last kid to do it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I'm being sincere. I really don't think there's anything wrong with it. Just I kind of found it a little bit surprising. I'm like, okay, all right. But it's good, though. I think he feels or he understands he's being challenged for this job. And instead of, maybe doing other weird passive-aggressive stuff, he's like, all right, you guys count me out? Don't want to see me do good? All right, it's all right. Just wait. I'm not even as good as I'm going to be. So that's what I took away. No comments, Corey? Nothing? It's fine.
I mean,
I can dwindle in the wind. It's fine.
You talked both sides of the spectrum. It's like you had a conversation with yourself there, which I do all the time, so I'm not making fun of you. That's what it seemed like. I don't really have a whole lot to add to that. Do we know he's not talking to Bobby Petrino, though? Or maybe he just likes the song.
Maybe he's talking to Scott
he relates to it.
Those lyrics, though. But it's the lyrics, Corey. Right?
It might have been
I made it to the top, and they all look up in disbelief.
Because maybe people when he was a junior in high school were like, this guy can't play college football.
Yeah.
And now he's, going into this fall as the number one quarterback at, August practice. Number one quarterback at the Florida State.
They hate that I'm doing better. They much rather get rid of me.
Hey, man, I'm just going to say, occasionally I used to go on Facebook and just, quote Pink Floyd lyrics. Didn't mean I really wished you were with me. I didn't wish you were here. I just wanted people to know that I liked the song. Hey, we got to talk about Matt Nelson, too, because he did get drafted on Sunday night.
Oh, he did? I've stalled it long enough and it went through?
He got 35th pick.
There you go.
By the Cincinnati Reds. That's a comp. It's the compensation A, so he's not technically a first-rounder, but it's in between the first and the second round. There's 8 of these picks where they're I guess maybe it's compensation B. I'm not quite
6.
It has to do with free agency.
Yeah.
But it's in between the first and second round. So he was picked 35th by the Cincinnati Reds. The first round was the first 29 this year. I think the Astros didn't get a pick because of
banging on garbage
the trash
cans,
can.
Yeah.
So anyway, I looked it up while we were talking about MMA and the roadkill face. And he is due to make – he can make more than this, but the slot for that pick is $2.1 million.
Attaboy, Matty.
There you go, Matt.
That's good.
There you go, Matt. I guess he technically doesn't count as the 21st first-rounder in Florida State history. But, being the 35th pick in the draft when coming into the season. As I talked to Meade about it last week, he was probably anywhere from 4 to 6 people projecting like the 4th round to the 6th round because of his defense. He was exceptional defensively already. Those tools already played. But then when you add the bat, he probably made himself, I don't know, $1.7 million, $1.8 million, the difference between being a 5th round pick and the 35th pick in the draft. So, yeah, that's awesome for him. He was the only Florida State player or recruit, I believe, drafted on Sunday night, but it continues on Monday, rounds 2 to 10.
One last thing about the UFC. So after the fight, they asked Dana White, like, what's it, because it was a really big fight card, everybody wanted to be there. Like, what do you tell celebrities, like, when there's no tickets left? And he's like, oh, it's funny you asked that.
This was the one that we had to do it to a lot of people. We had to tell them we don't have any more tickets. This thing sold out so fast and filled up so fast. For instance, I was just telling somebody the other day, you guys know who Coach Brent Venables is, the defensive coordinator for Clemson. The night we were in Abu Dhabi and Poirier won the fight, he texted me that night for tickets for the rematch. So that's how early we were getting ticket requests.
And I was like, of all the celebs.
Dana White mentioned Brent Venables?
Brent Venables. I watched
by
him live.
Name?
By name. Brent Venables. Not sure if Adam Fuller was there at Vegas, though. Don't know.
I'm sure he was. Did you not follow him on Instagram? He was there.
Marcus Cushnie, the latest and possibly last commitment for the 2021 class. More on him, courtesy of Michael Langston, right after this. We thought, and when I say we, me, the naive people, that it was all over. The 2021 class, welcome. Let's go get him, boys. They added a piece. And it was a name that many people that are familiar with recruiting were well aware of. He said he was going to go to Purdue, had a change of heart. Marcus Cushnie, he's a Nole.
Yeah, Marcus Cushnie, Alabama A&M transfer, originally from Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, out of Palm Beach Central, which is the same school as Akeem Dent and also Brian Robinson. So certainly a guy that they were pretty familiar with. I think Ron Dugan's had a previous relationship with him. So I think they knew this kid well. They brought him in during some of the official visits at one time to work out, got an FSU offer. They weren't pushing as hard then. They weren't saying, oh, we definitely want you. They wanted to kind of take their time. And then they realized when there was a spot open that they were free, that they had a spot to fill. He had already committed to Purdue, but they made a push. And I think Marcus always wanted to go to FSU. I think that was his first choice. So once FSU was all on board and there was a green light, I think it was I think that's where all this came in, where he flipped from Purdue to FSU. But I think FSU is always the first priority, and certainly a big addition to pass rush, because we've seen that's what their focus on, is really nailing down the pass rush. And certainly Marcus fits that capability. He's a very strong pass rusher, can really get after the quarterback. He's going to add a lot to their pass rushing to go along with guys like Jermaine Johnson, Keir Thomas, and these other transfers they've gotten. I think this guy's going to certainly help with their pass rush.
So, I mean, you mentioned it there, Michael. Like he did want to come to Florida State. He's a Florida native. He was playing out in Huntsville, Alabama, at Alabama A&M, and things work out to where maybe they have a priority that's a little bit higher on the board, so they kind of cool off. I mean, what was this? Were they still in contact, do we think, or is this kind of like a whirlwind thing that happened here, like in the last 48 hours or so?
No, I think they stayed in pretty solid contact. I had a couple of contacts tell me, hey, I wouldn't lock it in that, Marcus Cushnie is going to Purdue. I think FSU was staying in consistent contact. I think they stayed on him. And then once there was the green light, I think it was kind of self-explanatory that the FSU was going to get this one. And I think it was just about how he wanted to, I guess, break the news or whatnot. But I think FSU definitely, stayed in contact, and they never, relented, that interest as far as in Marcus. I think it was just the only change was, hey, we realize we have a spot, we have the green light to go, and let's get it done. If you want to be here, we want you. So I think he realized that they had a spot. And I think even through the early process, when I talked to Marcus before Purdue offered, before FSU offered, he always told me, like, look, I'm just taking this stuff as I get it. And also it was pretty clear The FSU is where he's going to go, where he wanted to be. I think he's going to play the Fox position at FSU from what Marcus has told me. And then two, the other thing was just DMing with him. I could tell, like, it sounded like, hey, if FSU takes me, that's where I want to go based on our conversation. So I think it was, I think once there was a green light from FSU, like I said, I think it was a done deal for FSU.
All right, Michael. So do we know what his eligibility is in terms of years allowed? And I mean, I saw Norvell's tweet. I'll pop it up here on the screen after we kind of glance at his grades here for a little bit. But he did say that Cushnie was part of the class of 2021. So I know there was that whole July 1st sort of deadline for transfers to be eligible. So are we expecting him to be ready to go for the 2021 season? And how much tread does he have left on the tires, at least in terms of eligibility?
I think he has 3 years because one of the years didn't count. So I think he will have I'm not going to – don't lock me in this, guys. I think possibly 3 years, 2 or 3 years. But I think 3 years is where I'd go. But I think I think he's going to be available to come right in and play. I think there's a 2-week window where you can get in there before the semester starts. So I think he's okay in that category. But I will have to double check on those numbers. But I think one of the years didn't count. So I think 2020 was really his only year. So I think he would have 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, left. So definitely he can add a lot to that group and that pass rush.
Yeah. 18 was his freshman season. So 18, 19, and 20 was a red shirt for everybody. So he would at least have, you would think, 3 left.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's look at these grades then. And, for all the heap that the praise rather that we've been heaping on Jermaine Johnson, it's the SEC, obviously, a little bit different competition than the SWAC. I mean, you want to talk about pass rusher in terms of production. This kid fits the bill, and I mean, Florida State needs more help on the defensive line. It's obvious. I mean, Keir Thomas brings you a different dynamic on the defensive line, but in terms of pass rushers, you're hoping that Derek McClendon can develop. You're hoping Quayshawn Fuller can develop. You're hoping Joshua Farmer maybe can be some sort of wild card, or a Byron Turner. But this is a proven piece. So this is definitely, no matter how the courtship worked, this ultimately worked out for Florida State and met a position in need.
And he knows how to get after the pass rusher. That's really what they lack on this defensive line. Obviously, we know Jermaine Johnson can do that. There's a few young guys that they're excited about, but this is a proven guy. I don't care if it's at Alabama A&M or wherever. He knows how to get after a pass rusher. South Florida kid, originally from South Florida, like I said. But the main thing is he knows how to get after the quarterback. He knows angles. He knows the ways to get after a quarterback. He's now up to 6'2", 245 pounds. So very good size that can certainly add a lot to a guy that can get after the passer. It's that simple, guys. I mean, that's what they needed. If they were going to take a grad transfer or a transfer in general at the defensive end position, this is exactly what you're looking for. A guy that his specialty is really getting after the quarterback.
Yeah. All right. So I assume this is it, right, Michael? Like 2021, doors closed.
Still got a week, Aslan. Got one more week. So as long as they haven't started the semester, technically there's still a chance for them to get somebody else. So I'm not going to close the door on any of this until I'm completely told that, there's nothing else. But very good addition to a position that they have really focused hard on at the pass rush and defensive end spot. So certainly very encouraging, exciting news for FSU. I think the staff is extremely excited about this one.
And his last thing, Michael, I know you DM'd him, so I mean, you haven't spoke on the phone, but just what are your impressions of him as a kid? I guess his desire, his focus, and ultimately, what sort of player you think he can be for Florida State?
Well, I think he's very locked in. I think the fact that he came over to FSU during the official visit weekend told you about how hard he wants to be here, how much he wants to be here. The fact that he wanted to, I think he's just ready to work, ready to come into a place that can really highlight his skills. When you add in all the other defensive linemen and defensive ends that they have, I think Marcus feels like this is a perfect situation. It's in state. So I think his mindset is he's ready to work. And I think that was very much discussed with the meetings he had with Coach Norvell and Coach JP. I think they wanted to make sure we got the right kid, because that's what it's about. Everyone's like, oh, we just want talent. No, the kid has to be the right mindset. And I think he has that mindset that Norvell wants from transfers that come in, that we expect you to make an impact, and that's why we're bringing you in. And so be ready. This is what we want.
Marcus Cushnie, 6'2", 245-pound edge rusher out of Alabama A&M, via Palm Beach County, joins Florida State. He was the defensive MVP of the SWAC championship game that his team won. Michael, thanks for all the information. I'm sure there's plenty more over at the PRB. We'll be sure to check it out, man. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, and I should be getting up with Marcus in a few minutes. Actually, he's told me he's working on a paper. Okay. So he's going to get up with me a little bit later today. We'll add that to our story, or we'll do a Q&A with him, for a story and get that knocked out. But more stuff coming on this big pickup for FSU.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.